Hello, welcome back to Let's Talk EFL. I'm Millie.
And I'm James.
In this video, we will be locking in our League 1 Week 3 predictions.
Before we start, let's go for our little check-in with our Super 6 game. Do you want to know the scores?
Guess so.
I do. Millie, you have 8 points. And I have 15 points. So that's 3-0.
I've lost all 3 this week.
Yeah, I lost all 3 last week though, so...
Okay, well it's level then.
It is level. So without further ado, let's go to our first fixture, which is Burton versus Stevenage. What are you going for?
Well, Burton have been involved with 2 very entertaining games so far this season. In their game against Mansfield though, they'll be kicking themselves for conceding that last minute penalty. But statistically it was an even game, so fair result. And Stevenage, they lost against a very good Huddersfield side and they were beaten by the better team. Although they did have a couple of decent chances. But I'm going to go for Burton 3, Stevenage 1.
Yeah, it was an entertaining game between Burton and Mansfield. Burton were quite sloppy at the back, especially for conceding that last minute penalty. And in regards to Stevenage, I can only echo what you say, Millie. But that penalty was much better than the last penalty they had in their first game against Shrewsbury. I'm going to go for Burton 2, Stevenage 1. Next up, we have Stockport versus Bristol Rovers.
Yeah, Stockport were a far better side against a struggling Blackpool. But all round, an excellent start to the season for them. And Bristol Rovers, to all intents and purposes, were battered by Rotherham, but they still came away with a point. I think I'll go for Stockport 2, Bristol Rovers 0.
Yeah, an outstanding performance by Stockport. 2 wins in 2, top of the league. And for Bristol Rovers, I think they were lucky to hold on for the draw. It's going to be a really tough test against Stockport, but I'm going to go for Stockport 4, Bristol Rovers 1. Next up, we have Barnsley versus Northampton.
It was a good result for Barnsley in the end, winning 2-1 against Lincoln. It was a good and needed 3 points to get their season going. And Northampton did well to get back into the game against Exeter. Good 3 points on the board for them. But I'm going to say Barnsley 3, Northampton 0.
Yeah, I think it was poor defending from Lincoln against Barnsley for the first goal. Barnsley were much more clinical than Lincoln. Good first 3 points of the season. And for Northampton, really good result after being 1-0 down for so long. I think it's going to be a tight game, but I think Barnsley will win 1-0. Next up, we have Cambridge versus Blackpool. What are you going for?
I actually think Cambridge were unlucky against Crawley. They should have put one of their chances away, but they did have one cleared off the line. And they were punished in the end by Crawley. This is a good chance for them to get some points on the board. And for Blackpool, lousy start to the season, which has resulted in League One's first managerial casualty in Neil Critchley. In their game versus Stockport, they had no shots on target and their defence was extremely poor. I'm going to go for Cambridge 0, Blackpool 0.
I think Cambridge were very unlucky to go away with absolutely nothing. They had some very good chances, but Crawley's goalkeeper was solid. Blackpool, on the other hand, poor performance all round. Richard Keogh taking over as interim manager. I think he's got his work cut out for him. I'm going to go for Cambridge 2, Blackpool 0. Next up, we have Charlton versus Bolton.
Yeah, Charlton had the better of the chances against Leyton Orient. Luke Berry with a 92nd minute goal to win the game. They deserved the 3 points. It's a great start to the season for Charlton. And I think Bolton would have been quite disappointed not to get the 3 points against Wrexham. They were the better team. I'm going to go for Charlton 1, Bolton 1.
Yeah, I think the Charlton game was pretty poor, to be honest. But a really good goal by Luke Berry to claim all 3 points. And I think Bolton were the better of the two sides. I think they were unlucky with some of their chances in the game. But a point is better than no points. I'm going to go for Charlton 2, Bolton 1. Next is Exeter versus Peterborough.
I think Exeter should have capitalised on early chances on the weekend. They were punished by Northampton and came away with nothing. And Peterborough, as the scoreline suggests, were absolutely dominant versus Shrewsbury. And they could have even got another one at the end. I think it was a great response to their loss on the first day. I'm going to go for Exeter 1, Peterborough 3.
Yeah, I think Exeter only have themselves to blame for letting Northampton back into the game. And for Peterborough, some good goals, played very well, and a great reaction after going 1-0 down. I do, however, think it's going to be a draw. I am going to go for 2-2. Next on our list is Huddersfield versus Shrewsbury.
Yeah, it was two very nice goals for Huddersfield over the weekend versus Stevenage. And they look physically strong. And it's been the perfect start to the season. Talking of good goals, what a beautiful goal from Shrewsbury against Peterborough. But then they just fell apart. I'm going to go for, Huddersfield 4, Shrewsbury 0.
I can only agree with what you said about the goals for Huddersfield. They were brilliant. Very good win. The best team definitely won, but I think Huddersfield will probably be disappointed about conceding that penalty. And as you said, Millie, quality goal from Shrewsbury, but just fell apart, crumbled. It's a little bit worrying. I'm going to go for Huddersfield 5, Shrewsbury 0. Next up is Leyton Orient versus Birmingham.
Yeah, while Leyton Orient had some chances against Charlton, they never really ended up bothering them. And for Birmingham, Alfie May with 2 in 2 is looking like a very positive signing for them. And they'll also be glad to get their first win of the season. I think that'll be the first of many. I'm going to go for Leyton Orient 1, Birmingham 3.
I think it was a poor game for Leyton Orient. Came close a couple of times, could have got a draw, but instead went away empty-handed. And the Birmingham game against Wycombe, very entertaining, and I think Birmingham ultimately deserved to win. I think it's going to be a tight one. I'm going to say Leyton Orient 0, Birmingham 1. Up next is Lincoln versus Mansfield. What are you going for?
Yeah, Lincoln's goal was worthy enough to win the game against Barnsley, but unfortunately they came away with nothing. And Mansfield involved with a 3-3 draw against Burton. Entertaining but sloppy at the back. Lee Gregory on the score sheet again, 2 in 2. I'm going to go for Lincoln 0, Mansfield 1.
Yeah, I think Lincoln needed to be better in front of goal, barring House's goal. That was brilliant. And again, they need to defend better. And for Mansfield, entertaining game. I think they were very fortunate to get the penalty, but it was well taken by Lee Gregory. I'm going to go for Lincoln 1, Mansfield 2. Next is Wigan versus Crawley.
Wigan fell flat against the dominant Reading side on the weekend, and it's another tough game coming up for them versus Crawley. Could this be 3 games without a win? And Crawley stuck the knife into Cambridge right at the end of the game. And overall, it's been an excellent start to the season for Crawley. I'm going to go for Wigan 1, Crawley 2.
Yeah, I think for Wigan, it was a very, very poor result. And I truly believe that they're going to struggle against bigger opposition this season. And for Crawley, Wallacott to the rescue. Topped off by a goal by Adiemo to take all 3 points. Well-deserved win. I'm going to go for Wigan 0, Crawley 2. Next up is Wrexham versus Reading. What are you going for?
Wrexham were lucky to come away with a point against Bolton on the weekend. Although they did have some bright moments, I just thought Bolton were the better team. And Reading were very good value for their win against Wigan. Bright start for Ehi Bashanam. I'm going to go for Wrexham 2, Reading 2.
Yeah, I think Wrexham had some decent chances against Bolton. Struggled a bit, but still a decent point away from home. And Reading, I think they deserved the win. They played very well. And Wigan posed very little threat in my opinion. I'm going to go for Wrexham 2, Reading 3. And last but not least, we have Wycombe versus Rotherham.
It's been a really tough start for Wycombe, but they did put up a fight in both games, to be fair to them. I think it'll be an entertaining season for the fans. And Rotherham were very, very unfortunate not to get the 3 points against Bristol Rovers. Obviously, they need to be putting them away against teams like Bristol Rovers, especially at home. I'm going to go for Wycombe 2, Rotherham 0.
Yeah, I think for Wycombe, 2 really tough games, but they've showed really good signs, really good spirit. A few teething problems, but I believe they'll come good soon. And Rotherham, I believe they dominated against Bristol Rovers and they really and truly should have gone away with all 3 points. I'm going to go for Desmond 2-2. So that's our League 1 Week 3 predictions locked in. What do you think? Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Let us know in the comments. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. We really, really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Until then,
bye.
taters.